Oh, hi. Welcome. Don't mind me. Just having some roasted beans. I'm roast vegetable pilled as of late, so let me finish real quick. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're... Sorry, I'll put these down. Hey, what's up? Hi, how's it going? A new video game called Starfield was released recently from Bethesda Game Studios. It's a space game where you go around and you do all sorts of stuff in space with other people that are in space. Unfortunately, though, for some gamers, Starfield has been ruined by the woke agenda. Wokeness is in Starfield, and goddammit, the gamers aren't letting it fly.
Bethesda, there is nothing I love more than to sit down, comfy chair, turn on my PC, fire up a brand new RPG, lose myself, think, oh my god, just think of this world, just think of all the planets I can visit, all the immersive things that I can get involved with, all the fights, all the relationships, all the people I meet, all the places I go. I'm so excited to go there. And you know, I love nothing more than, with all of that laid out in front of me, I love nothing more than to be dragged out at every fucking conceivable opportunity so you can fucking current day us.
Whoa. Hey.
Sorry, did you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what? Fucking pronouns!
Hey.
Fucking gender ambiguity! Fucking current day Californian shit! Because that's all we fucking know! Because we're boring! We're so fucking boring!
Okay, you should get the point by now, hopefully. This totally normal and warranted rant here from the gaming YouTuber Heels vs. Babyface was sparked when he was assaulted by Starfield's character customization screen, which features an option that allows you to select your pronouns. There it is, the horrible crime of wokeness continuing to infect our game. What's next? Nouns? What's next? Adjectives? There's not much that I could really add in terms of analysis to this viral clip. Nothing you wouldn't hear from any other content creator anyways. Everyone has pronouns, including this guy. Bethesda has determined that an option to select them is a viable inclusion in their product. To protest this by screaming about it, it's very silly, right? There is a lot of funny stuff in this clip though. Like at the start when he makes a performative gesture of taking his headphones off before going epic style on that woke ass.
I just want to say something to you, Bethesda. Just want to say a little something. There is nothing I love more. Taking my headphones off.
Whoa. I'm ready. I'm scared and ready. For the final 20 seconds where he concludes the meltdown by just going straight back to playing the game.
Every single solitary fucking thing!
Jeez, dude. Come on. You got spit on me somehow through the camera. Pronoun options are upsetting enough to make him do this, but not stop playing the video game. Most principled anti-woke gamer. One thing that's weird is he keeps calling the pronoun screen current day.
Fuck you falling into a world and just getting lost. No, current fucking day.
This is odd, right? Starfield takes place 300 years in the future, unless he thinks gender will have been abolished by 2310, which would actually be pretty cool in my opinion. Pronouns are no more current day than space itself. Bethesda is narcissistic, he argues, for including something that you could only get this upset about if you yourself are a narcissist.
We can't see past our own fucking reflection. That's the level of our narcissism here at Bethesda Western Game Company.
People that aren't you get included in a game one time, and this is how you act. Once. You're acting a little bit narcissistically. Also, I love when these guys do that like revolutionary speech voice cadence, trying to sound all strong.
Here at Bethesda Western Game Company.
Only to use it to say the dumbest, most asinine shit of all time. This reminds me of that one clip of Tim Pool's boy going beast mode at the thought of having to wear masks again.
Don't do that again. And don't make people put fucking dirty masks on.
Whoa.
Nice.
I'm sick of it, man. I'm fucking sick of it. I will not do it again. Thank you.
All right, man. You're welcome. Sure. Like I said, there's not really much to be gleaned here. It's just a fun clip of a guy freaking out. What I do want to look at next, though, is the reaction online from the sort of anti-woke YouTuber echo chamber. They're all defending this guy here and also using this situation to do some even more intense levels of transphobia. So let's take a look at what's going on over in Demon Town. The first thing that was interesting that happened here was everybody trying to reframe this controversy as the libs getting triggered. You've probably seen this. The libs are triggered over the clip of this guy, so they say. When people are just kind of making fun of him, you know, they're making jokes about it. Longtime supporter of the show, Hasanabi, tweeted out, "This weird British guy losing his mind over selecting pronouns in Starfield is the perfect demonstration for why we must bring back lobotomies." Another content creator called The Act Man tweeted, "Gorilla-shaped man on the verge of crying because Starfield lets you pick pronouns at the start of the game and then it's never brought up again. Somebody please shoot this guy with bear tranquilizer. He's going to attack someone." These are, of course, edgy joke tweets, right? Not really my cup of tea personally, you know? I'm not a big edgy tweeter guy. I don't know such cases of that. But it's nothing out of the ordinary for these sorts of content creator back and forth. The first thing we saw here was a bunch of pearl clutching from the anti-woke group, most of whom self-identify as the sort of free speech final vanguard of edgy YouTube.
This weird British guy losing his mind over selecting pronouns in Starfield is the perfect demonstration for why we must bring back lobotomies. Yes, we need to drill as through the brain because he's fed up with a lot of bullshit.
The Fellowship has been talking about Starfield a lot lately and calling it woke. And because of that, woke tards are just screeching, angry, and telling us we should be unalived and things of that nature just because, you know, we call a game woke. That's completely reasonable and not mentally ill behavior or anything, right?
Responses like the joke tweets here are framed as screeching by this lady. But watch how she reacts to the guy blowing 10 gaskets on camera.
F off! You're boring!
Can't nobody rant like as just absolute legend of rants, the king of rants. And he says what a lot of us are thinking and just in his amazing way.
Triggered SJW meltdown when we do it. Epic justified rant when they do.
Fuck off!
I'm just gonna start putting this guy in every thumbnail like how they do it with Big Red and all those other people. I find it interesting that someone can watch this clip of a guy create a million new capillaries in his skin and not realize that that's like definitely not a normal reaction. But it makes sense when you understand that the perspective here is that wokeness' games is genuinely destroying the West and that they're fed up with all this crap and they don't want to take it anymore, which of course, as most people should be aware of, it's just a pretty normal thing to set your pronouns in the options of a video game.
Here's Hassan Abi, multi-millionaire fake socialist on Twitter.
Socialism is when poor. Socialism is no money. Capitalism equals money. If have money and socialist, contradiction. Debunked, Carl.
Losing his mind over selecting pronouns in Starfield is the perfect demonstration for why we need to bring back lobotomies. I mean, normal response. I also saw the Act Man insult Heels versus Babyface's appearance. Again, a normal response. I don't think so.
This last comment from the quartering is really interesting. He clutched pearly things about the tweet that made fun of someone's appearance immediately after doing that same thing, but you'll never guess who the people are that he's doing that to, making fun of the appearance of. That's right, alleged victims of sexual harassment.
Anything from World of Warcraft. Look what World of Warcraft did. They took all the pretty girls paintings out of the game. That's how pathetic AAA video games have become, as to not oppress, not upset the trollish-looking females that work for Blizzard, apparently.
The trollish-looking females he's referencing here are the female employees of Activision Blizzard, who in their 2021 lawsuit alleged constant experiences of humiliation, sexual harassment, and physical abuse at the workplace. Definitely not an extremely freakish thing to say there. To call these victims ugly because they took the boobies out of your game. Good stuff, man. Just one small note there. He says that the pretty girls were removed from the game when all they did was just take the cleavage out of the paintings, sort of revealing about his definition of pretty there. Apparently for him, this is not pretty. For this guy, this is not pretty enough. So, curious. Finally, you had the best version of the you're triggered. No, you're triggered dichotomy.
Now, for those that don't know anything about these, fear not. They're video games. I'll give a general idea of what they are, but they are both introducing wokeness in their character creation models. A Trojan horse, as it were, for ideas that don't make sense, shouldn't exist, confuse young people, and oh boy, the leftists are getting really mad about this.
On one hand, they try to gaslight and say, oh my God, what do you care? Why are you so mad? It's just pronouns. It's just pronouns. It's just pronouns. Big whoop. And then the same people spent all this holiday weekend just completely melting down about it online. So either it's a big deal or it's not. And of course, we know it is a big deal to them. In one hand, they pretend like it's no big deal, but they all tweet about it and they all say how it's not a big deal.
You say that it's not a big deal, yet here you are saying that it's not a big deal. It must be a big deal to you since you're literally saying that it's not a big deal. You're literally so triggered right now. This is actually representative of an argument I saw a few different times, which was these types of guys saying, pronouns, they're not a big deal according to you, but then at the suggestion of removing them from the game, you're freaking out. You're going nuts. It must then be a big deal.
So the guy that said it doesn't matter then's created another post because I guess it really, really matters.
And the obvious counterpoint to that is that they aren't a big deal, and so putting them in the game is pretty normal, but making a performative gesture about removing them from the game when they are not a big deal, that's, weird and worth saying, what? Why are you doing that? Could it have anything to do with trans people and you going out of your way to make trans people excluded from the game? Silly stuff. Silly times. This guy, the yelling guy, had a predictably cowardly follow-up response. Videos titled "Man Cancelled for Having an Opinion on the Internet."
Man has opinion about video game. Internet goes absolutely nuclear crazy about opinion on video game. Is this actually about opinion on video game? No, this has nothing to do with opinion on video game. This has everything to do with going after the far left sacred cow of gender ideology.
Classic backpedal, acting like opinions can't have political messaging in them. It's just my opinion that we should put certain groups of people in certain zones and keep them there. My opinion, right? It's just something I believe.
Can't have an opinion anywhere in Joe Biden's America.
He does move on to try to do some dunk attempts, which were pretty unintentionally funny in my opinion.
Is the perfect demonstration for why we must bring back lobotomies. Well, Hassan, at least they would be able to lobotomize me. You, however, I don't think they would actually find enough brain cells.
Ooh! Ooh! This is the kind of contrived burn attempt that a middle schooler comes up with after years of getting mercilessly bullied. And when no one laughs, he brings a gun to school the next day.
Pronoun options, so very current day of Bethesda, because it appears at some point during the last couple of years, Pete Hines seems to have forgotten what gender he is. Never mind.
Got his ass. I'm not a pronouns in the bio kind of guy person. I don't keep him in there. But to get this foamed up about a guy having them in there, it's just, in my opinion, a little bit cringe. I see it happen and I say, oh. I hear him do that and I say, weird guy activities.
In every aspect of our entertainment today, we seem to be pulled out because the people creating it are more concerned with inserting current day into absolutely everything.
So, as many have pointed out, you're only ripped from the immersion of a game from something like this if you're an entitled, self-centered weirdo, whose representation in games has always been unquestioned as the default. The moment that changes for these types of weird guys, they start pooping and farting. It's very scary and terrifying for them, so we must have empathy in these troubled times for them. The cause of all of this isn't wokeness, though, right? It's capitalism. It's Bethesda, the game company, understanding that pronoun options are viable to put into their game because the amount of gamers, people they're trying to sell the game to, that'll freak out about this and boycott the game, are now in the minority. Here's some statistics about attitudes towards using gender-neutral pronouns. You can see the younger ages overwhelmingly support stuff like that. One piece of context on these statistics is that gamers tend to skew younger, the majority being in the demographics that's statistically more likely to be normal and not weird about trans people and using they them pronouns. Here's another fun take I found from the sort of classical anti-SJW YouTuber Sargon of Akkad.
It's not really about the pronouns. Pronouns are just a symptom of the pervasive, corrupting force of social justice, continuing to humiliate white men for the crime of being white men.
This tweet continues for a while, but I ain't reading all that. First off, so drama.
So dramatic.
Why is everything that you don't like evidence that the West has fallen? When McDonald's forgets to give me a straw, that is an assault on Judeo-Christian values. But mainly, if this screen makes you feel humiliated for being a white man, go to bed, go to sleep, grandpa, it's just past your bedtime. Good night, sleep well. It's okay. You're not woke. You're anti-woke by sleeping. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about, and I guess the more serious thing, is the link between this meltdown, its sort of unanimous defense online, and more overt transphobic propaganda. Many different gamers and pundits have crawled out of the rotting floorboards to make their case that the pronoun screen isn't just about pronouns, it's about a whole lot more very scary stuff. So first, let's see that from our friend Shouty Boy.
Starfield lets you pick pronouns at the start of the game and then is never brought up again. So if it's never brought up again, what is the issue? What is the problem? Why is it even there? It's there to compel you to do so. It's there to compel you to participate in the gender ideology that they've shoved into the game.
So come on, man. You know, that tweet, you know what it means, and it's not that. The tweet means that in the game they don't ask you again for your pronouns, but that doesn't mean pronouns don't come up. Pronouns are a pretty normal thing to use in language. So choosing them on the screen is it's a practical thing. He knows that though, right? He knows it. He just doesn't want it in the game because it's authoritarianly woke gender ideology. That's what this boils down to though, right? Their crusade against, quote, gender ideology. This term seems to mean something different for each of them, but they're all linked together, right? The more specifically gamer version of this is about, you know, keeping politics out of video games. I just want a game. I don't want any of this woke stuff. That's it. Not a lot of thought is put into it beyond this, at least for a lot of people who are swept up in this fervor. And that one's fun because, you know, for starters, politics never been a part of video games, ever. Political themes in video games, not a thing, and never have and will be. Just let me do my anti-imperial revolution in peace, please. This point connects to the more explicit transphobia, though, through the gender ideology label, right? The first argument there is an all-time classic, the slippery slope.
It's just pronouns. It's just pronouns. It's just puberty blockers. It's just puberty blockers. It's totally reversible. Hey, let a healthy 12-year-old remove parts of their body to affirm their care. It's all down that same slope. Oh, respect my pronouns. Oh, here, just I'm gonna, 12-year-olds. It's just you could just put puberty on pause. It's no big deal. What do you care? It's not your body, okay? And then it's kids getting parts of their bodies chopped off to affirm their gender. So when people are aware of what this represents, this is why it's immersion breaking.
This is the sort of end point to this narrative, that exposure to language that includes trans people in the form of a single frame from a video game that has billions of potential frames. That's gender ideology. Gender ideology is that, and also all these other things. So if we let this happen, all the other things are going to happen too, and we can't let any of them happen because they're all bad. The main thing that's being specifically referenced here is the idea that gender ideology, again, as they use it, will compel people that aren't trans to be trans. They'll go through hormone replacement therapy and gender affirming surgeries without really knowing that that's what they want to do because they're confused and don't know what they're doing. This was alluded to earlier in Tim Pool's comment about confusing young people.
A Trojan horse, as it were, for ideas that don't make sense, shouldn't exist, confuse young people, and oh boy.
You see it in Dr. Disrespect, another big time streamer, his tweet about confused online young people influenced by the internet and politics in games. We saw it from Nick Merck's comments a while back about Pride Month recognition needing to be left out of schools, the implication there being that kids aren't being left alone, as in they're being indoctrinated. These are all transphobic political arguments being made in varying degrees of ignorance, but they all presuppose the idea that trans kids don't exist. The only reason they would is brainwashing and gender ideology, and we know that all of this is a lie. These people are lying. They're either ignorant to or ignoring the statistics, which have been very clear in showing that the compelled to be trans narrative is a falsehood. Transition regret and detransition rates sit around 1%. This 1% includes temporary regret, so people who end up continuing to transition. This number has also been decreasing over time as trans-affirming healthcare has become more refined and effective. These gamers, and worse yet, YouTubers, are stepping out in front of every medical association to say, all of you experts and doctors are wrong, trans people don't actually exist, and anything that might point to that in media is indoctrination and brainwashing and woke agenda and creating people that don't actually exist. We've seen this narrative throughout history in, for example, a homophobic backlash, the gay grooming narrative, which we've talked about on the channel before. See this video for reference. But it's just directed towards a new target and using new language, such as we saw from the quartering about kids getting chopped up. We can call it for what what it is, right? Dishonest, fear-mongering, in-group anti-trans propaganda. Most importantly, though, it's an objectively dangerous narrative for the lives of trans people, one that underpins the current wave of anti-trans legislation that is going on across the country. Anti-woke folks, while not knowing shit about what they're talking about, have managed to plant their anti-trans flag firmly in the gaming space. It's no secret that gaming spaces are fertile ground for these sorts of regressive ideas. Gamergate is perhaps the biggest example of this. And anytime we see stuff like this, you know, it's important for us gamers that are normal. 50%. All right, rip. Not the abnormal people that are in the out group. Gamers that just aren't transphobic. To look out and say, hey, why are you freaking out about this? When did your YouTube Shorts algorithm get you freaking out about gender ideology, whatever that even means? And just talk to them and give them some context behind all of this crap. To the anti-woke creepers, chill out, leave trans people alone, and get used to games, including them, because you're losing this one. Losers, winners, triggered, not triggered, out group, in group. But seriously, just chill out, you know? Okay, that's it, folks. Let me know what you thought of the video. See you next time for another episode of the YouTube channel.